What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new Ecom Warriors video. Today we're going to be talking about why 95% of Shopify stores closed down without any sales, or they just closed down in general, right? 95% of the stores that are created are closed down. Now, this was a blog written about a year ago. I will presume that the number even increases probably more than 95% now. It's probably about 96%, but let's talk about why that actually is. And I just want to make a statement that before I release this video, I want to say that, on this YouTube channel, Ecom Warriors, I'm doing everything in my power, essentially, to teach people the one thing that will keep your Shopify store from closing down. And that's called increasing your conversion rate. Everybody knows about it, but not a lot of people pay attention to it. I realize that, a lot of people can't or don't have the power to bring in hundreds of thousands of visitors to their website, right? Whether it's a money issue, whether it's a marketing issue, whatever the issue might be, you just can't really bring in that much traffic. But what you can do is you can control your conversion rate. So what I did was I made playlists on this YouTube channel. I posted a bunch of videos, but they're not really in playlists, so I put a few playlists together. If you guys need guides or step-by-step guides for advertising or maybe building a Shopify store, I have some Build It Together series where you can check out these playlists. So I definitely encourage Ecom Warriors, check out the playlist. Now, let's talk about this writer. He wrote a blog on why 95% of Shopify stores do close, and that is a proven fact. They do close very, very quickly. And there's a few reasons to why that is. At the end of the day, it only comes down to one reason. Even though there could be a million reasons here, there's one reason, okay? You're not getting sales. Nobody's going to shut down a store if it's doing well, right? So let's go ahead and kind of view these reasonings that this blogger put out, and I'm going to make my assessment on it, and I actually have a few tips for you guys, okay? So reason number one is the get-rich-quick mentality. So the get-rich-quick mentality is probably, like I said, or like this blog says, it's definitely the number one reason. Everybody, because of perpetuation of social media, of the internet, and things like that, people put out a video saying, hey, here's how I made $30,000 in a month doing Shopify. When that's all possible and good and well, the viewer, on the other hand, thinks that they can do it too. And I'm not saying that they can't, but they get the wrong idea. They get the idea that, you're going to make a lot of money very, very quickly. And that's really not how it is. I remember the very first business that I created a website, and I had the product, I had everything ready, but nobody was coming to the website, and I couldn't make any money. And that's where I actually started to learn marketing, which is a whole different approach, and I realized that this business thing is not a get-rich-quick. It's not, a ticket out of your job. It's not a ticket out of getting out of school or dropping out early. It's really just a process, and some people catch on to that process faster than others. But there is no situation where, for the majority at least, you're not going to just turn over the next day and be very wildly successful. It's usually not going to happen. Of course, there are some outliers, especially with advertising and things like that. But, for the majority of us, it really didn't happen. I know for me specifically, I never had this moment where I just woke up the next day and woke up with hundreds of $1,000s worth of sales. I never had that, right? Everything that I had, it slowly grew over time, which is actually probably to my benefit because I probably would have given up earlier. Let's go ahead and talk about number two, poor niche choice or product. So I actually a little bit disagree with this one. Now, you guys know how I feel about the whole winning product kind of topic. With winning products, I truly believe that there are some products that will sell better than others. However, if a product is marketable, which it is if it's a product, right, then there's no such thing as a necessarily better niche or a better product. Because, for example, you might have a winning product and you might do terrible at marketing it and you might make $0 in sales. I might have a non-winning product or just a regular product and I might do very, very well because I learned marketing. And this is why I kind of disagree with this person's reasoning. It says poor choice of niche or product. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, there are some products that you'll sell and you'll just have a better chance at selling them and making more sales, whether it be because of industry fads and trends. It could be because of the time of the year. It could be different things like that. However, at the end of the day, it comes down to the marketer, the person who's in control. If that person who's in control is lacking experience, it doesn't matter what product you give them, they're probably not going to sell it very well. So that's why I disagree with poor niche or product, as if that's the reasoning why stores close down. Like I said, if there's somebody who's unexperienced and they have a winning product or a non-winning product, it's really not going to make a difference. They're going to have to go through that learning curve. That's just my opinion. Number 3, following passion. Once again, I disagree with this completely. In fact, I think that people should follow their passion when it comes to building their store, because if you're passionate about something, you're more likely to stick to it for a longer period of time. And the one thing that I realized was, when building a Shopify store, you have to build a store that you truly believe in. And this is what I truly believe. I don't know about other people. I can't speak for other people. I can only speak for myself. If you build a store and you're not truly invested emotionally in it and mentally, I don't see it succeeding. I just don't see it, going well. Because, when you're passionate about something, you're more inclined to stick with it for a longer period of time, right? And all that takes investment, whether it's financial investment, whether it's physical, emotional, mental. It takes a part out of you. Building a store is not easy. Building a brand is not easy. Making a business, starting a business is not easy, guys. Remember, 95% of the stores, like I said, shut down. And they don't bring a profit. So this is just something that I want to say is, you should follow your passion. If you're passionate about fitness, create a store around fitness. If you're passionate about, whatever it be, if you're passionate about, veganism, or, find something that you could sell that's vegan related, maybe a vegan cookbook, maybe you're selling, some plants or something. I mean, I really don't know what you're going to sell, because it just depends on your passion, but I always think you should stick to passion. Here it says, this guy's saying that passion is nice, but it is very hard to convert it into sales. I disagree completely. I think everybody's passion is completely different. My passion might be gaming, for example, and I might do very well creating a store around gaming. And I might have a lot of information behind those kind of products where I can educate the consumer. That's why I think passion is one of the greatest things, is because if you are passionate, if you're invested in a specific product, let's just use gaming as the example, then you know what the customer needs. So when the customer asks for support or help on finding the best product for them, you can help them, and you can help them, essentially purchase a product. So I think that's really important too. Number 4, poor marketing skills. At the end of the day, this is the the big kahuna. All right. You're not going to be able to sell a product not because of the product, but because of the marketing. Part of marketing is finding the right audience, and it's also, essentially setting up your website for conversions. I've actually talked about this on multiple videos, and the list goes on of where these videos are at. But, at the end of the day, I didn't even create that many videos on my YouTube channel. I think, let's see how many videos. I mean, I don't even know how many I created here, but probably less than 50. But with that being said, I mean, the big thing with the whole marketing is there's 2 pillars, and I've said this before. When you're doing marketing, there's 2 pillars. The first pillar is the quality of traffic that you're getting, and the second one is how effective are you at essentially deciphering to the client or showing to the client the benefits of that product so that they can be interested in purchasing it. And that's why I said the Wolf of Shopify theme does a beautiful job at that. Specifically, if we look at the theme, okay, they have some kind of offer. But anyways, what is this, $125? I've shown in my last video how paid apps cost significantly more than getting a theme like Wolf. And that's just an example. Now, I've told you guys, Wolf works for me, okay? And I've used the tactics within the theme to convert at a higher rate than average. And that's what's keeping, the doors open for all of my stores. In fact, I've never really had, especially after my very first business, guys. My very first business, like I said, I was very limited on cash. I was in college. Many of you do not know this story, but on my other channel, many of you do. I was strapped on cash, and I made an investment in a business, and I had to stick with it until it worked. I didn't really have a choice to switch around. I didn't have the luxury of, having some money saved up or anything like that. So I had to stick by it. And now I'm fully confident in that whatever business I start, I'll be successful at. Even though it might take a little bit longer than normal, I will eventually be successful. And the reason why is because I've learned the basics to marketing, and I'm getting it better at it every single day. And that's something that I've talked about over and over again. I talked about the conversion tactics that the Wolf of Shopify theme has. You guys should take a look at my other videos if you're interested in that kind of thing, because the theme does matter. In my opinion, when you have the right Shopify theme, it's part of your marketing. When you have the right traffic acquisition methods, that's part of your marketing. Okay, let's go ahead and read it on. Number 5, which is this person's fifth reason why stores end too early or they close down, is poorly designed stores. So this is, you guys know me. I agree with this wholeheartedly. And I've said that. Like I said in my past videos, I actually just mentioned it. The two golden pillars to a Shopify store is, the first thing is you're going to be your quality of traffic, and the second thing is going to be the actual quality of the store, the design, the functionality. It not just look good, but it has to be functional. It has to make sense from a conversion approach. If we look at, let me just pull up this store that I built here, guys. This is the One Interactive store that I built live in front of you guys. The series that I created right here is it's the Let's Build a Shopify Store Together series. This is the store that we built together. This store is going to convert at a high rate. If we click on one of these products, you could see the conversion tactics. You could see 7 sold in the last 22 hours. Hurry, only 86 left in stock. 18 visitors right now. All these different tactics create scarcity. On top of that, if you look at this website looks like a professionally designed website. It doesn't look like a website that was built by, some guy on Fiverr for $5. It's a completely different scale. When we look at certain collections of products, you could see filters. Everything's organized very well. Yes, I missed some stuff like adding some photos, but if you guys want to see the reasons behind everything, there are certain reasons why we set things up. Like there's a certain reason why we set the collection up to be like this, wide stance kind of point of view, not a grid-based collection. Just a whole bunch of different reasons behind building the store a certain way. If you guys want to see that, like I said, definitely check out the playlist. But store design is so important, especially in the way, and I definitely do agree with this one, poorly designed stores. If you don't think about what the consumer is thinking from a consumer psychology point of view, you're going to fail. And I'm not saying that out of being a bigot or anything like that. I'm saying from experience. There are times where I've built stores and, they just didn't succeed right away. And like I said, I've never really shut down a store. Some stores have only taken me longer to build because I really had to dive deep into what is exactly the consumer thinking. What do they exactly need? And in this series, it's a completely free series on YouTube, guys. This series right here on my YouTube channel, I explain that. I explain, what customers are going to be looking for, why they're going to be going behind certain things. And guess what, guys? Let me click on this right here. This series right here is 8 episodes. 8 episodes, each one is at least 20 minutes long, except for one of them. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of content there. And make no mistake, there's not a lot of people who are going to watch this series. And the reason why is because, it's hard work. And like I said, goes back to the first reason here, get rich quick. Nobody wants to put in the work. Not nobody, but a lot of people do not want to put in the work. They just don't. And, tough because they're the ones who are not going to succeed with Shopify. And I'm just speaking out of honesty here and truth. Maybe some of you guys can weigh in. The one last thing that I would add to this blog is the very last thing is just not sticking with it long enough. At the end of the day, people have a sunken loss fallacy kind of mentality where they're thinking that they keep losing because they're paying the Shopify fees. They're bogging themselves down with a ton of Shopify apps, as I've talked about in my last video. You guys should definitely check out my last video, this one right here. It's going to help out a ton of you really see the difference between paid apps versus paid themes, and you could see the actual difference in the benefit. But the thing to pay attention here is that, a lot of people, they're paying these fees every single month for Shopify, $29 plus apps, plus, maybe $29 is just enough for the average person to tap out. They're seeing these fees accumulate, and they're not seeing any progress in their store. And what they do is they think from a mentality aspect of like, all right, I don't want to lose any more money. Let me get out of this. And, they jump out, and maybe they're paying for ads. Maybe they're paying for, whatever the case may be. They're paying for all these different fees, and they just don't make it out. And so the one thing that I would really say that beats probably all of these different reasonings is that Shopify store builders, at the end of the day, they're just not sticking with it. And I get it. Sometimes you got to ask yourself, well, how long am I going to stick with this business and keep losing money? But sometimes if you stick long enough with a business, you will eventually succeed. And I think that's the one thing that I did that was right when I first started is, I made a ton of mistakes, but the one thing that I truly did is I never gave up, and I just kept going and going and going and moving forward. And you're not going to learn everything right away, but what you are is you're going to be putting in work every day, which is going to make up for it. And when you're doing that work, you're going to start learning. You're going to start asking yourself questions that are going to push you in the right direction to actually get some kind of sales, some kind of conversions. And, that's really all I got to say for this video, guys. But the one thing I think everybody should take away is stick with the business. Obviously there are some businesses you need to cut off. And that decision is different for everybody. But some businesses, if you could just stick with them, they'll eventually provide you some kind of income long term. All right, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.